So now, 5-second board is shown. We'll watch for the lights then. Red lights go on and they go out now, and it's a good start by James Harridge from the outside of the front row of the grid there. He's going to try and squeeze ahead of Craig Pollard as they go down to the first corner at Redgate. I don't think he's going to be able to do it though. No, he's still trying to go all the way around the outside. So it's Harridge from Pollard, from Hans I think in third place. Craig Bell is fourth. Let's see how that pans out as they head down Crater Curves. They're still alongside one another there, but it's the yellow car ahead of number 92, Craig Pollard. The company director from Suffolk is ahead of Harridge. He tries to go around the outside, and the number 1 car of the old hairpin gets a little bit sideways, gets a better exit from the corner, tries to get alongside Pollard on the run up to Schwantz Curve. We've lost number 8. That's Dave Harridge's, James's dad. But for the lead, it's Pollard against Harridge at McLean's.
Harridge was doing some finger pointing there, like go forwards, but perhaps he's trying to go forwards. At this point, you'd think you're not really going to want to work together too much, are you? But there is a big gaggle of cars at the front. Going off the previous race, you'd think James Harridge would want to get ahead of Craig Pollard pretty rapidly before Pollard tries to break away, and he's defending down towards the S's, because we do know that this finish of this race is going to come earlier than the 15 minutes, and they turn their way then through the S's for the first time, with Craig Pollard out front, with James Harridge challenging up the outside into the Melbourne Loop. Craig Pollard sort of defending like any lap could be the last lap, isn't he?
And that's what he's got to do, and the others have got to attack like any lap could be the last lap. And Hans here making a move on Harridge. Is he there sort of side by side as they come up to the braking area for Goddard? It's Harridge in the Maverick that just slots in ahead of Danny Hans, who carries more speed through the corner. Thought he was going to run into the back of Harridge there for a moment, but all of that battling as Tim Probert goes off the road, it does allow Craig Pollard just to get away a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. And he got to the point where he might be breaking the toe for fourth. Well, Matt Harbott had got there, but not for much longer, because Craig Bell goes down the inside and he goes back through with Andrew Cooper, the third of those dominators, in one specification or another behind. Down the Crater Curves, James Harridge now desperately trying to catch back up to Craig Pollard.
Yeah, so there's Bell and Matt Harbott, and also Andrew Cooper in there in 6th position, so he's lost 1 place at the start. Ian Buxton's having a better race this time. He's in 7th. We saw his early demise in race 1. He's been a race winner in the past, and then behind him is Rick Lanier, Ben Cressy and James Madden in that number 16 car, rounding out the top 10, the UK-based Dubliner.
Of course, we didn't see much of Ian Buxton in race 1, did we?
No, not at all.
And he started on row 8 in this race, and he's up to 7th already, so that's a remarkable start from him, isn't it?
It's a very Ian Buxton kind of drive, this, isn't it? As now Harridge is back with Pollard and attacking as they go down to Fogarty S's this time.
Pollard's made a small mistake there, I reckon, Ian.
Yeah, must have done, and now we're going to get the two of them side by side. Harridge is going to be on the inside line this time as they crest the hill and head down into the Melbourne hairpin. No, he's able to hold on. It's Craig Pollard, and Danny Hans coming up on the inside of Harridge instead. It's a bit of a repeat of what happened a lap ago, and Hans got a good run out of the hairpin this time at Melbourne. They're heading up towards Goddard, but again it's Harridge with the inside line.
Yeah, that's right. And Hans was a little way behind, but because of that mistake Pollard made, backed Harridge up, and therefore Hans is back with them. And I think James Harridge might be a little bit annoyed that he was challenged there into the hairpin, because all of a sudden the gap is larger again to Craig Pollard, the race leader, as they turn their way through where we had that oil spillage earlier on. All clean now, and it's Pollard from Harridge from Hans onto Hollywood for another lap. It looks like Craig Bell, after getting fourth, has dropped back again, because Matt Harbott was back into fourth ahead of Andrew Cooper and Ian Buxton, who has the pace to pass the 2 cars in front of him.
And sliding his car around Freebridge Campus AHS Dominator around the old hairpin that time. It's still Pollard in the WEV, the car that Graham Gant used to win the championship in 2019 that leads. Pollard himself as a driver won the championship in 2018. Harridge has won the championship for the last 2 years. He's number 1. He's there in 2nd place right now, but he's right in the wheel tracks of Pollard as they head through Coppice for the 3rd time in this race. Hans just a few car lengths behind them, but that was pretty much the same a lap ago, and he was with them by the time they got to the Melbourne hairpin. It's Matt Harbott in 4th in number 33, Andrew Cooper 5th, and Ian Buxton is 6th into Fogarty S's this time. Harwich not as close as he was on the previous lap.
No, he didn't get alongside this time, did he? But he hasn't got hands to worry about behind him now, which he might be kind of pleased with as they turn their way through the hairpin. He can take his own line. I think Craig Pollard's just really good around this part of the track, isn't he? Through the slower corners, going down the gears and back up the gears again. He's got a bit of a gap, and these three are the class of the field. They're pulling away from now. Craig Bell, who's back to fourth.
How's he managed that?
From seventh at the start of the lap, but he may not be there at the end of the lap because he's got cars coming either side. On the inside, Matt Harbott takes the position. Andrew Cooper is behind. Ian Buxton, who is moving forward, dropped a position. New fastest lap by the leader. Starting to get away again. So quick through that Grand Prix loop. He's Craig Pollard, 146.45.
Yeah, he's got an Iron Martin Farmers lap record. He's still about 1300ths behind it, though. So it's Pollard that leads, Harwich in second, also a Class B registered competitor, and Danny Hans in third. But it looks like these three have spread out a bit more, so I don't know if we can see what's going on in that fight for fourth, fifth and sixth. We'll see if we can pick that up in a moment, because Matt Harbert and Craig Bell and Andrew Cooper were really going at it. Ian Buxton was catching them as well to make it a four-car fight for fourth position. Let's just see if they run into shot at Schwanzkirch. Here they come. Well, it's Cooper that's fifth. Bell is back to sixth, and Buxton is with them now as they climb up through the right hand of McLean's, and Buxton spin. Now, was there a touch there?
Not sure. He's going to lock up under braking. He's in a slightly precarious spot there, especially if the car rolls backwards. But he has got it moving forwards again, so that's better. Yep. But not a good day for Ian Buxton. And a great first lap to this race, but apart from that, nothing's really gone to plan.
No, so just the three cars left in the fight for fourth, fifth and sixth. Then Matt Harbert, local driver from Markfield, in number 33, under pressure now from the man from Suffolk. Another man from Suffolk, and that is Andrew Cooper, number 41. The 25 car is off, and that is Daniel Lanier, the older of the two brothers. And he was 17th at the end of the previous lap, so he'd already dropped back from where we'd expect to see him.
And for fourth, well, now it's Matt Harbott back at the front of this trio of cars as they make their way up towards the hairpin. So three dominators, all in slightly different specification. Meanwhile, up front, James Harwich has done a lap time of 1 minute 46.12, which I think it's going to be Harwich then that eclipses that lap record.
Well, it is a new lap record then as Craig Bell goes off the circuit and spins as he rejoins. Cars pointing back in the right direction again, but there was four, then there was three, and now there's two cars left in that battle for fourth position. The leaders have got on to their next lap. It could be conceivably the final lap of the race. We'll have to wait and see exactly when the checkered flag comes out, though. It's Harwich driving the wheels off that thing. He's got the lap record. He's got it away from Martin Farmer, but what he really wants is to get the victory away from Craig Pollard. Can he do it?
It's definitely possible, isn't it? Because he's right on the gearbox now, the race leader. So like you say, probably this one or one more, isn't it, in this race up towards Coppins. And Harwich dives up the inside and he goes through then ahead of Craig Pollard. Pollard didn't defend there like he was earlier, but it's not a bad place to be behind because the run down towards the S's is certainly a potential overtaking opportunity. They're side by side, they're wheel to wheel, and Harwich brakes really, really late on the inside line and he hangs on, he hooks over the curbs, but has he got the exit? It's done okay. We know Pollard is really good through the two hairpins though, Ian, so he's going to try and fight back up the outside.
He is down the outside into the first of the right-hand hairpins. This is at Melbourne. It's the left-hand hairpin at the top of the hill at Goddard, and Harwich hasn't been particularly good at these parts of the circuit in earlier laps. We didn't really get to see how good he was in race one, so Pollard is going to try and hassle him. Harwich goes defensive into Goddard. They're turning their way out of the hairpin up towards the line, and over the line they come, and it is the number one car ahead, and it's James Harwich, and we've got at least one more lap of this race, and so Craig Pollard lives to fight another day. They've got away now from Danny Hans, but Pollard's going back through on the inside into Redgate Corner. No, he's not, because number one, James Harwich, closes the door in his face. So we've got at least 2.5 miles more of this, Josh.
Yes, fair chance. This is the last lap, and they're going to go side by side down the Craner curves. Craig Pollard's on the inside. Harwich gives him room. There's racing respect there between these two drivers, and James Harwich, who's really quick through the old hairpin normally, takes the lead and stays ahead.
Andrew Cooper's got up to fourth place now at the expense of Matt Harbert as well. I noticed in Tim Probert after that off on the opening lap, he's back up to seventh as Pollard and Harwich are at it, and at McLean's it's Pollard that has the advantage in the number 92 Web. But we saw on the run down to Fogarty Yeses on the previous lap, that was where Harwich was strong. Well, he got the moved on here, didn't he? At Coppice on the previous lap, he couldn't do that on this occasion. But how good is he going to be on the way down to Fogarty Yeses? Just half of this lap to go, and it may well be the final one.
Yeah, Pollard defended hard into Coppice, and he defends hard here as well. James Harwich seems frustrated that Craig Pollard is defending. Well, that's kind of what you do, don't you? So Craig Pollard then leads the way through the S's, what we think might be the final lap of this race, and down towards the hairpins. We know Pollard's good here, but James Harwich on the outside line breaks late, and can Pollard, a car tucked in okay? I think he can, and there's possibly one corner to go, Ian.
Yeah, so up towards Goddard then. It's Pollard leading. Harwich brakes very late. He'd have to brake very late to make it work. He tries to get the switch back, though. He's right on the gearbox now of Pollard as they come up to the line. The checkered flag is ready and waiting, and it's going to be Craig Pollard that does it. His second win of the day in the 750 Motor Club Formula V Championship. He wins by 26/100ths of a second. If it had gone one more lap, it could have been different again. James Harwich takes second place, Danny Hands in third, and they are just streets ahead of the rest, because here is the fight for fourth place coming out of Goddard now. And is it going to be Andrew Cooper, or is it going to be Matt Harbert? The two dominating almost side by side as they come up to the line, just over a car length between them, and it is Cooper, number 41, that follows up his podium early on with fourth place this time. Matt Harbert is fifth, and then the rest of the cars, like a handicap race this, all coming through together. Rick Lanier sixth, Tim Probert seventh. No, hold on. Tim Probert sixth, Rick Lanier seventh, Craig Bell eighth, Ben Cressy ninth, and Christian Goller, who was a retirement from the early race and the qualifying session, rounding out the top 10.
Yes, he started last, didn't he, I think, Christian Goller? So that was pretty... Oh, no, he didn't quite start that far back, did he?
But nevertheless, good drive.
From a long way. I think row 9 it was in the end for him. So yeah, good drive to 10th. But like you say, a whole load of cars came through all in one go there. But a great race there. We had to wait a little while, didn't we, to have that one. It was a shortened race, but it was a great battle. And how important was it that Craig Pollard defended like he did into Coppice Corner on that last lap?
Absolutely right. And I suspect I can anticipate the kind of comments James Harwich might be saying after this race.
There was no weaving, was there? You just placed the car exactly where Harwich perhaps wanted to go.
It was a really good, clean race, but it could have gone a few more laps and would have done in normal circumstances, and I think that will be Harwich's argument.
They were lucky to have a race, I think, is one point to look at it.
That is certainly one way. Let's have a look at the results. Number 92, Craig Pollard, it was that took the win, and what did they get? They got 6 laps in the end. Quarter of a second victory margin for him over James Harwich in number 1, who also won Class B. Third place, number 2, Danny Hands. Fourth place to number 41, Andrew Cooper. Fifth was 33, Matt Harbert. Sixth was number 6, Tim Probert. Seventh was number 24, Rick Lanier. Eighth was number 99, Craig Bell. Ninth, number 11, Ben Cressy. And 10th, number 56, Christian Goller. Further back, Matt Hyde, he had some supporters on the live stream. He came home in 11th place, a great debut from him. 12th to number 4, Maurice Gloucester. Then it was Bill Garner, who was the next of the Class B cars, in 13th place, overall number 10. Then Mark Egan and Ian Buxton rounded out the top 15. A bit further back, any particular names to pick out there? Emo Kostadinov, 26th in the number 19 car. Daniel Lanier and Elliot Mason, though, both retirements from the race. And I think if we go on to the final screen, yeah, we just see James Madden there. He also didn't make it. Then we saw Dave Harwich, a retirement right at the end of the race. So some final thoughts on the day's racing from you, Josh Barrett.
Well, I think the Club Enduro race, that was really good, wasn't it? We had some really exciting racing. The last lap pass after 2 hours to win a class race there. I think that was super exciting. And obviously it's a shame in some ways what's happened in some of the time-wise today, but we did have some good racing. Bike sports were some of those best races we've seen. Okay, Joe Stables kind of ruined it a bit in the second race by winning by a long way, but that in battles between Richard Wise and the front Class B cars really bodes well, because those cars are so fast, they're exciting anyway, but when they're so close together you get some great racing, and that last Formula V race was a great battle.
It certainly was. Thank you very much, Josh, for having you alongside me once again on the Alpha live stream. Thanks to all the marshals from me, Ian Soman, up here in the commentary box, and all of the other officials of the 750 Motor Club, and Josh Barrett alongside me. But let's head down to the pit lane for the final time, and Matt Suckling.
Thanks very much. Yep, down here with Craig Pollard, double winner today. Well done, Craig, first off, but that was quite tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, James kept me honest throughout that, and if I'm honest, I didn't expect it. I thought, new car for the year, we knew it was a quick car, and I thought we'd have a bit of an edge on James and Danny this year, but The gap's not as big as I thought it would be, but I'm not disappointed. It's good to have the competition, and it's good to see things develop, and those guys have obviously been working hard in the winter as well.
It seems to be in that race there was different parts of the circuit where you did well compared to James.
Yeah, you know, James is a fantastic driver. Everyone can see that, and he's always going to be quick through the corners. I haven't got to grips with that web yet. I'm sort of still playing it safe. I feel like there's a couple of moments where I could throw it all away, and I'm just sort of backing off a little bit, but it will come in the year.
Plenty more races to come. Hopefully you're doing all of them.
Yeah, full season. So fingers crossed. Assuming nothing happens, we'll be there to the end.
Good start to the season. Well done.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks.
There we go. Craig Pollard, your winner. James finishing in second. What a great battle we said there with Craig. Did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, it's always enjoyable. You know, he's got a new car, so he's very, very quick this year. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. They've spent a few years developing it. Obviously, he's a younger driver than the last guy, but he's good. You know, he's really done well for himself today. But yeah, we're going to have to try and pull something out of the bag to beat him. I had a DNF in the first one. The gear shift snapped in my hand. So yeah, so it's quite nice to just get a solid, you know, points finish. Thinking long term, a second is pretty good. So it could be a long season. So anything can happen.
I think it's going to be a long one, but hopefully very competitive between you and a few others. Yeah.
I think the three of us, are definitely going to be right up there. At certain tracks, I think it's going to suit me. Other tracks might suit him. He seems to have amazing traction off some of the corners. Not too sure how we can compete with that. But through some of the faster corners, you know, I was all over him and managed to get past him, which was a bit of a miracle. I just wish, because I didn't see any sort of last lap board, it was just, I didn't know whether it was the last lap or not. So that sort of played into his hands a little bit. But no, well done to him. He's done really well.
And well done to you on second. Well done, James. Many congratulations. And we'll just grab a quick word as well with Danny Hands. Danny, if you just want to jump down here for us so we can have a quick chat. Well done. Third place. I'm sure you saw that battle in front, wanted to be part of it, but still, good podium.
Yeah, I mean, I was part of it in the last race. Unfortunately for James, he didn't finish. On that one, unfortunately, I just couldn't keep up. I just couldn't quite hang on to the back of them. In the last race, we didn't finish because our front anti-roll bar snapped. So we put a different one in, and now it's causing me like chronic understeer. So all through the high pace stuff, the front of the car wants to wash out, and under braking, it's pulling one way. So I had a few things to deal with in the cockpit then. But yeah, I wasn't too far away. But yeah, like you say, I would love to have been part of the fight. I was early doors, but then just unfortunately just dropped off.
Well, learning curve for today, and hopefully better for the next one.
Yeah, hopefully come back stronger.
And still a podium anyway.
Yeah, can't ask for more.
Good stuff. Well done, Danny. Many congratulations to you on third place. Second place, of course, to James Harridge, and victory for the second time today in Formula V for Craig Pollard. So there we go. Hopefully you've enjoyed all the action here at Donington. It's been a busy one, and we've got more live action to look forward to later in the season.